You knew her when she was little? I used to take care of her, August said. I ironed her clothes and packed her school lunch in a paper bag. She loved peanut butter. That's all she wanted. Peanut butter, Monday through Friday. I let out my breath, realizing I had been holding it. What else did she love? She loved her dolls. She would hold little tea parties for them in the garden, and I would make these teeny tiny sandwiches for their plates. She paused like she was remembering. What she didn't like was schoolwork. I had to stay after her all the time about it, chase her around, calling out spelling words. One time she climbed a tree hiding up there so she wouldn't have to memorize a poem by Robert Frost. I found her and climbed up there with the book and wouldn't let her come down until she could say the whole thing by heart. Closing my eyes, I saw my mother perched beside August on a tree limb, going through each line of stopping by the woods on a snowy evening, which I myself had to learn for English. I let my head drop, closed my eyes. Lily, before we talk any more about your mother, I want you to tell me how you came to be here, all right? I opened my eyes and nodded. You said your father was dead. I glanced down at her hand, still on mine, afraid she might move it. I made it up, I said. He's not really dead. He just deserves to be dead. Terence Ray, she said. You know my father, too? No, I never met him, only heard about him from Deborah. Call him T-Ray. Not Daddy? He's not the daddy type. What do you mean? He yells all the time. At you? At everything in the world. But that's not the reason I left. Then what is it, Lily? T-Ray. He told me my mother... The tears had rushed up and my words came out in a high-pitched sound I didn't recognize. He said she left me. He said she left both of us and ran away. A wall of glass broke in my chest. A wall I didn't even know was there. August slid up to the edge of her chair and opened her arms, the way she opened them to June the day they'd found out May's suicide letter. I leaned into them, felt them close around me. One thing is beautiful beyond my words to say it. August holding you. I was pressed so close to her, I felt her heart like a small throbbing pressure against my chest. Her hands rubbed my back. She didn't say, "Come on now, stop your crying. Everything's going to be okay," which is the automatic thing people say when they want you to shut up. She said, "It hurts. I know it does. Let it out. Just let it out." So I did. With my mouth pressed against her dress, it seemed like I drew up my whole life load of pain and hurled it into her breast, heaved it to the force of my mouth, and she didn't flinch. She was wet with me crying. Up around her collar, the cotton of her dress was plastered to her skin. I could see her darkness shining through the wet places. She was like a sponge, absorbing what I couldn't hold on to anymore. Her hands felt warm on my back, and every time I paused to sniff and gasp for a little air, I heard her breathing, steady and even, in and out. As my crying wound down, I let myself be rocked in her breathing. Finally, I pulled back and looked at her, dazed by the force of what had erupted. She ran her finger along the slope of my nose and smiled a sad kind of smile. "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't be sorry," she said. She went to her dresser and pulled a white handkerchief from the top drawer. It was folded, ironed, A.B., monogrammed on the front in a silvery thread. She dabbed softly at my face. "I want you to know," I said. "I didn't believe T-Ray when he told me that. I know she never would have left me like that. I wanted to find out about her and prove how wrong he was." I watched her move her hand up under her glasses and pinch the place between her eyes. "And that's what made you leave?" I nodded. "Plus Rosaline and I got in trouble downtown, and I knew if I didn't leave, T-Ray was going to half kill me, and I was tired of being half killed." "What sort of trouble?" I wished I didn't have to go on. I looked at the floor. "Are you talking about how Rosaline got the bruises and the cut on her head?" "All she wanted was to register her name to vote." August squinted like she was trying to understand. "All right, now you start from the beginning, okay? Just take your time and tell me what happened. The best I could, I told her the miserable details, careful not to leave anything out. Rosaline practicing writing her name, the three men taunting her, how she poured snuff juice on her shoes. A policeman took us to jail, I said, and I heard how strange the words sounded to my ears. I could only imagine how they sounded to August. Jail, she said. Her bones seemed to soften a little in her body. They put you in jail? What was the charge? The policeman said Rosaline assaulted the men, but I was there and she was only protecting herself, that's all. August's jaw tightened and her back went ramrod straight. How long were you in there? Me? I didn't stay long. T-Ray came and got me out, but they wouldn't let Rosaline go, and then those men came back to beat her up. Mother of God, said August. The words hovered over us. I thought of Mary's spirit hidden everywhere. Her heart, a red cup of fierceness tucked among ordinary things. Isn't that what August had said? Here, everywhere, but hidden. Well, how did she finally get out? Some things you just have to take a deep breath and just say. I went to the hospital where they'd taken her to get her stitches, and I sneaked her past the policeman. Mother of God, she said for the second time. She stood up and walked one loop around the room. I never would have done it, except T-Ray said the man who beat Rosaline was the meanest hater of colored people anywhere, and it would be just like him to go back and kill her. I couldn't leave her in there. It was scary. My secrets spilled out across the room like a garbage truck had backed up and dumped its sorry comments across the floor for her to sort through. But that wasn't what frightened me the most. It was the way August leaned back in her chair and looked off towards the window with her gaze skimming top of my head, looking at nothing but the sticky air, her thoughts a nerve-wracking mystery.